Hello, hello. Anybody out there? Oh boy. Had something go wrong when I was trying to start the stream, and now I don't have a text or a chat box. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello and welcome. This is why I did a test run the other day, is to try to iron out the details. We'll consider this one a little bit of a test run as well. I don't know where my chat box is. Why is it not on the screen? Alright, well, we're just going to roll with it. I may have a little trouble seeing the comments because for some reason... Let me click this. Oh, no, not that. Okay, definitely not that. Trying to find my comments. I don't know why it didn't pop up. Alright, well, I'm just going to do it from another phone or another device. How are you guys doing today? How is everybody? Uh-oh, you know what? We got a little bit of a problem with this. It's too zoomed in. How is everybody? Let me put my phone over here. Can you all hear me okay? Audio's good? Okay, awesome, awesome. That's what I'm most worried about. Whew. I get so stressed out trying to start these streams because I'm, doing it differently than I used to, and it's a little bit more complicated. Hope you all are having a good day. I thought I'd pop on for a little bit and get a little bit more stream time in, and I'm working on this new layout and setup to do some, some tarot streams, and I want to come on and test it out, see how it looked, see what y'all thought of it. Glad to see you all here. So I wish I would have been able to give some advance warning and been like, hey, I'm going to go live. If you got any political questions, get them ready. But here we are, impromptu as always. So we're going to roll with it, see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. If you guys have any political questions, we'll do some tarot, we'll do some Lenormand, we'll do both. All right, so that'll work still if it's a little bit too zoomed in on the other screen. I don't know if it'll take a little bit for the stream notification to get out for everybody. We might want to chit chat for a little bit. So what are you all up to today? What's everybody doing? How's your day going? Have you been keeping up with the news? So good news. Last night, the candidate in Arizona, who they're saying will be the 218th signature on the discharge petition for the Epstein files, she won. So, and I think Georgia, I believe, was a Republican, because there was an election in Georgia, and I believe a Republican won that one, but they kind of, it's an area that they kind of knew that they were going to get. So I've been trying to film a little bit today and get some more readings out, and I thought I'd just pop on and see what is on your all's mind and what you're thinking about as far as like current events, and answer some questions and just have some political talk, see how everything's going and check in. Hello, Jackie. Hello, Only Me. Hello, Canadian Clay, Yolanda, Susan, Sonia. Glad you all are here. So what are we thinking is going to happen with once they get the 218th signature? Do you all think that we'll get like the full Epstein release? Or do you think it's gonna, like, there's gonna be another obstacle in the way? Because I'm kind of concerned about that myself. I just don't see, I don't see Trump going so easily into this without trying to start something else, And if at any point you guys have any questions you want me to pull cards for, just let me know. And we'll get some cards down. I'll tell you, I think that it's entirely possible that Mike Johnson is going to try to do something to sabotage this. Now, some interesting information about this in case not everybody knows. Once they get the 218 signatures, which they should have probably about, I'd say about a week into October, they should be able to, reach that threshold. Once they have it, it forces a vote, of course, in Congress. And I haven't been able to find out what most people think right now about the Senate. So I'm kind of curious how the Senate is going to vote. But I heard something interesting, which was that, it's going to look really bad. Like there's a lot of pressure on, Democrats and Republicans alike, both in the Congress and Senate, to vote on this because, everybody wants them released. Everybody wants to know what's in them. And so I guess that's what people are kind of saying. Like they suspect that it'll pass the Senate pretty easily. And as far as Congress goes, I think that there's pretty good indicator that it'll definitely pass Congress, but I'm just concerned about the Senate. Canadian Clay, he might. I mean, in order to escape these, he very well could do that. She's been sworn in. Yeah, I'm hearing that she'll be sworn in around the 1st of October, like the first week of October. So like in a couple of weeks. And as soon as they get that final signature, Hello, Jose. Welcome. Hello, Rockman. Let's get a few cards just while we're talking about this and kind of focusing on the energy of like how this plays out. I'm curious, like I said, if there's going to be any problems, any more snags along the way. See what tarot has to say about it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them out into the comments. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that ones card here. Not at all. But I think it's a good thing to see the not the high priestess. Yeah, the empress coming out. I think that's a good indicator of like kind of giving me the feeling that there is just gonna be a lot of people on board with this. I think, that and the Ace of Pentacles kind of feels like a little bit of a standoff, but where, Trump's side is kind of outnumbered. So I don't know if it'll be like how severe it'll be. Will it, really shake things up, or will it really, is there going to be like a formidable obstacle in the way? I guess is kind of what I'm thinking here. I wish I had zoomed out a little bit more. So we got the Three of Cups. It's so dark in here. It doesn't look dark to you all, but it's so dark in this room. I'm having trouble seeing these cards. So if I say the wrong card, just I'll figure it out. Just give me a minute. Ooh, yeah, it seems like there's some worry. It's funny, I feel like there's two opposing, maybe even multiple opposing takes. The energy kind of surrounding this is like we've got, worries and fears, we've got celebrations, and we've got people ready to go to battle. So kind of goes both ways for both sides, I think. Because obviously Trump's ready to go to battle for it and basically like celebrate not having to come clean about what he's done in his past. But at the same time, we've got Rokana and Massey who are ready to celebrate the release of it. So I think it's a pretty good representation of both sides there. So definitely a lot of emotionally charged energy. Rockman, yeah. So after the election last night, that candidate in Arizona, she is supposed to be the 218th signature. And with her, as soon as, she's sworn in, she'll allegedly, she says she'll sign it. I mean, I guess we don't have any reason to think that she won't, which is something I worried about because you know how recently a lot of Republicans have been running as Democrats and then like switching. I'm so paranoid at this point because it seems like there's so much going, just not even just going wrong, but just so much going on in general. Hello, Anne. Ooh, from Florida. I used to live in Florida. It was a wild time. I hunted everywhere for gators, and I end up having to pay to see some. They're not as easy to find as people make it seem like they are. Weird. Kind of let's see, what else can we ask about this? I really would like to zoom that out, but it's going to mess everything up. Let me do this. I'll do that for a little bit. It's not too bad. And then we can probably scoot these up a little. See what we can get as far as like the full release. I'm concerned about like how much will be redacted. So let's see if we can get some cards to indicate, will we actually see the full version of the files? Because another thing that, there is to be concerned about is like what happens if we go through this whole process to get the files and then it's just a big nothing burger, like they've got some kind of trick up their sleeve. That would be devastating because, I think this is one of the only things that really has the momentum and the ability to kind of, put the brakes on this administration. And let's see. I feel like I was filming earlier and I got this card in a similar question. And while I was thinking about it, it's like, anytime I see that card, I immediately like, I have my hackles up and I'm like, ooh, bad sign. So I'm going to do exactly what I did earlier. I'm going to draw a few cards to kind of expand on the Seven of Swords so that I don't just immediately see it as subterfuge, because anytime that card comes out in one of these types of questions, I immediately tend to think the worst. So pull a few more. I think like with the Nine of Wands, I tend to think of the Wands cards as like battle cards. So lots of fighting, lots of discourse. And then obviously with the Seven of Cups, illusions, delusions. So we got another Swords card, and we've got the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, it kind of looks like something coming to an end with, it very well could be that they just get to a point where they can't hide everything. Like maybe they did try to hide certain things and then they finally, like it's all catching up to them. There's too much piling on, and they, as far as like Trump's FBI, because if you haven't heard, he's had like 1,000 FBI I don't want to say agents, I don't know if it was specifically agents, but people, employees, personnel, whatever, redacting the files. So it kind of feels like a situation where that group of people who are tasked with hiding things are kind of getting overwhelmed to the point that they can't cover up everything. Do you see Andy from Kentucky as president or Gavin Newsom? I have one video on Andy, and I think I was surprised that people weren't really all that interested in Andy. And I think, as far as that reading goes, and just what I know about Andy, I don't think the rest of the country is going to see him the way that we see him here in Kentucky. And I don't know that that's going to do him any favors. So I'm really worried about whether or not I think financially he won't really get the chance this time, which sucks. I mean, Andy really is a great governor. He truly is. But I think there are a couple things that's going to get in the way, one of which is finances, because it takes a lot of money, and the other would be just the way the rest of the country sees him, because they don't, I think a lot of people don't understand Kentuckians at all. And I hear lots of Kentuckian slander. And I know it's a red state, but I feel like Kentucky's a different type of red state. People here, and that's why we have a blue governor, is because it's not your typical red state, not like Texas, there's a lot of nuance that people don't get. But Kentucky would definitely support him. We don't really have too many electoral votes, so that wouldn't even matter. Andy's got to get out there and get himself into the spotlight. But I can pull a few cards for him, and we'll see what tarot says. But just from, a political spectator point of view, I just don't think he has the momentum or the finances. Heavy bear. I know what you mean. Yeah, every morning I wake up and I check the news headlines and I'm like, seriously, we're still here. I know just what you mean. May give us a bit of Epstein to keep us Hello, Eveline. Welcome. So I'm going to get a few cards for, which question was it? Oh, okay. Andy. Let's get 3 cards for Andy. And just, in general, his future as a possible candidate for president. Judgment Day. I think a lot of people see Andy as too religious. Like the left sees him as too religious and too moderate. To me, Judgment Day card here is clearly a reference to, religion. Good candidate choices. Oh, yeah, okay. So he may make it just based on this. He may make it to, to the primaries and then not be the candidate chosen. Get a couple more cards here for the Two of Swords. Can't fast forward my intuitive shuffling in a live stream, y'all. I can fast forward it in the videos, but not in the live stream. Four of Cups, not feeling great about something. Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is not mincing words. Being really straightforward. It's could be a particular energy of someone. Could be that another thing that really feels very energetically heavy about this choice that the cards have presented us with is people feeling exactly what I was talking about. They're, looking at the candidates and they just don't think Andy has a sharp enough tongue. Because here we have an energy of someone who is sharp tongued and direct and effective. And Andy is he's very mild mannered, very polite, very kind. Even when he is sassy Andy, he is so polite and so kind. And that's a very Kentuckian thing. Not for Eastern Kentuckians now, let me tell you. Holler people are different. Myself included. But Kentuckians are very mild mannered people. And I think that that's probably, like, he may make it, to be a candidate at some point, but I think he won't make that final hurdle because he's just not aggressive enough. And that's kind of always been something I worried about too with him. So another card that I tend to get a lot for Andy is High Priestess, and there she is. There she is. We are quite a ways out from that particular election, so probably too early to ask. We'll have to keep asking as it gets closer. I do love Andy, though. We love him here in Kentucky. I heard the survivor will release the list. Rockman, I'm not sure I know exactly how to kind of focus on that question. The thing is like, we have to be realistic in our expectations. It's going to take a lot to get Trump out of there. And really our only option is impeachment. And in order to get there, we have to have Congress. We have to have the votes to impeach him. And that's really the only way to get him out. So not really sure how to approach that question through tarot, just because there's so many obstacles in the way at this point in time. I think that this will definitely do some damage on him, and I think it'll be interesting what happens if we do get the release and there is blatant evidence of horrific things. Then how do the Loyalists in Congress and Senate react? Let's do that, because that one probably we could tackle that one through tarot. Let's get a few cards for that, because they have a tendency to do a lot of mental gymnastics to avoid admitting what Trump has done. Like, they're all pretty much willing to make excuses for him no matter what he does. So let's see what would be their reaction, essentially. You know what? This is interesting. This is really interesting. So, my question is, if there's hardcore evidence, how do the Loyalists react? This is basically implying that they would kind of move to a point of agreement with the Democrats. Because we have here this card. How do I describe the energy of this card? When I look at this card, I think of, I don't know, this is going to seem really specific. I think of medieval times. If you had a big feast at your castle, you might be inclined to invite everybody, and not just the people that you like, but you invite even people that maybe are normally your enemies, and you say, you know what, it's okay, we're going to sit down and break bread with you. Just for tonight, we're gonna be polite, we're gonna be civilized, and we're gonna let you come into our castle, into our dinner hall, and we're gonna have a nice evening together, and then we can go back to not liking each other the next day. So that is what I get from the Four of Wands. This one is obviously being quick to take up arms, pretty much, against an idea or a belief. And then this is kind of another reference to coming together, just like this card. and a lot of people kind of on one side, moving to one side, or like a group of people who are in agreement with something. So I'm just really getting like everybody moving away from Trump and turning on him if that type of evidence were to be released. And I think he knows that, and I think that's why he's fighting it so hard, is because I think he knows that once people, even if there are like really treacherous people in Congress and Senate and in his loyal circle, once they're confronted with this, they can't publicly keep saying like, we still love Trump and we still support him. They would look horrible in the public eye if they did that, So they can't, you know what I mean? Let's see, what else have we got? I wish I had my comments on the screen. They never popped up for some reason. And that is an interesting question. Could the Epstein files be released from outside the U.S.? We'll pull some cards for it, but that's like, first of all, that would imply somebody has the data besides like our government, our FBI, and so forth. So this might be kind of hard to interpret with the cards because we don't know. Like, does anybody else have access to this? Obviously, the survivors have their stories and their knowledge. And I've heard some people kind of reference the fact that other people know. In a reading I did earlier this year, I got that other countries, like leaders of other countries and politicians in other countries, somehow, for some reason, had dirt on Trump. And then that actually was confirmed a little later on down the road, like a week or 2 months later, however long it was. So it could be possible through those means, but let's see what the cards give us and we'll try to figure out. The thing about, like, for me with tarot is like I have to focus so much on the question to be able to interpret the card that I have to kind of know everywhere that I'm going with the question in order to answer it. So we got the Tower, we got the Ten of Cups. I think, according to the cards, I think it is a possibility. Will it happen, though? What are the chances of it happening? Let's get 3 cards for that. Because I think, thinking along these lines, anybody that would have that type of information, they probably would want to sit on it to use it as leverage, if you know what I mean. Ooh, now this is interesting. So we've got 2 references to love and romance here. Ooh, I'm thinking of Erica Kirk here. Do you guys know the lore that has come out about that woman recently? About Romania? I can't say too much, but Romania, the pageants, her connection to Trump from years ago. You all know about that? He could, I'm laughing at, oh gosh, yeah, that's a terrifying thought, but you're right. He could do that on live TV and everybody be fine with it. Yeah, the people who support him, they'd be fine with it. You're 100% right. They would be like, well, there's a reason. I mean, if Trump did it, it can't be that bad. So they would always find a reason to justify it. MK Higgins, good point. Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know. Like I said, I gotta be standing on stable ground with my question in order to get a solid answer, and I'm not 100%. But I'll tell you what I keep thinking about very heavily with this bottom line here is Erica Kirk and her origin story. Because we got the Two of Cups, which is a reference to love and romance. I mean, this is the real lover's card. The actual lover's card means something different. This is the real card of love here, to be completely honest. And, like, you know, it can also be like partnerships and stuff, but it's very heavily like emotion, romance based. And then here we have with the Knight, he is also romanticizing and following his heart and following a romantic dream or something that he's hyper fixated on. And then with this one, we've got basically, you know, a reference to the past and a reference to some type of nostalgia. So I feel like this is talking about a specific person that could be some type of key to, you know, because my question was like, how likely is it? I feel like there is someone in Trump's orbit right now that may be the key to it being released internationally. With the top line, you know, the Pentacles here is making me think somebody wouldn't give up a financial leverage tool so easily, because it's more beneficial to them to sit on it. You know, I don't know. It's kind of a muddled answer, but I kind of, like, I get the vibe of it, but it's hard to put it into words. You know, as far as like timelines for the release of the files, we are still a good ways out from the midterms. I mean, we're more than a year still at this point, like a year and a month. I don't think that they can drag it out that long. Now, will they try? Yeah, they might try. They might absolutely try it, but can they effectively? I don't know. Don't think so. But at this point, it's pretty obvious that he's willing to do whatever it takes to kind of avoid accountability. So, you never know. My cards are going to go all over the floor. I don't have as much room on the desk as I do my little tarot table, but I need to do like a big shuffle. Just a second here, grab my cards off the floor. Bunch of them went under the desk. Let's see. Actually, you know what? That's a good question, though. Let's look at it from, like, let's say that if, and this is going to be a hypothetical tarot question. Let's say that there is some odd chance that occurs that by this time next year, the Epstein files still haven't been released. Let's say that that's where we're at come election time. And let's say, how does that play out? And not really like, why do I keep dropping these cards? Not really like, is it, because I don't know how likely it is. I don't know how much of a holdup that they can, you know, really do. Like, he's really going to have to pull out all the stops in order to hold up the process. But let's say that, hypothetically, that that's where we are. And let's just see if we can interpret the cards from there. Sorry, I wish I could fast forward my intuitive shuffling. Oh boy. So we've got fear and worry, nightmarish situation, switching up where you stand in order to get a different view of things. An apprentice, someone who's working to mastering a situation or a project or a thing. Then here we have the Four of Wands, which is basically like a homecoming of sorts, of combining, even opposing forces to get to a desired goal. And then we've got the, is that the Princess? Yeah, that's the Princess of Pentacles, so the Page of Pentacles. Kind of like inspiration, creative endeavors. Let's see, Eight of Swords. So there's a big energy pattern here of shut up and sit down. I'll just say it like that. Keep your mouth shut. Don't speak. Don't tell anyone. I see a couple cards referencing like plans and strategies. Kind of got like some intimidation, bullying. This makes me think of ICE agents outside of like voting locations. This card's kind of making me think of people suddenly not really caring a whole lot about, I don't know, it maybe the Epstein files at all. There may be people who are like, we don't care anymore. We're tired of hearing about it. Just kind of getting an overall feeling of Trump having some type of strategy. And keep in mind, this is hypothetical tarot question. This is not like a, really for sure going to happen. This one's just hypothetical. So I think what we're getting is that it is possible under some circumstances that if he were to be able to find a distraction that could kind of get everybody on the same page, or most people, because keep in mind, like, I don't know how much you all pay attention to politics in the news, but there are a lot of people out there who don't ever pay any attention to it. And those are the ones who really make these situations kind of iffy, especially when it comes to an election, because they're checked out. They don't know what's going on in the news. They don't know what's going on in the world around them. They don't have a feel for the pulse of society. And they're just kind of living their daily life, and anything that doesn't intrude on their daily life is not really registering as important, because people get overwhelmed with just regular life. And I'm kind of feeling like I could definitely see a lot of people being like, oh, I don't know what this is about, this whole Epstein thing. I don't care. I'm going to vote how I would normally vote. Like, I'm not going to vote with the intention of like possibly picking the people who will drive this situation forward and do something about it. People on the right realizing the truth about Trump. That is actually happening. I don't know if you're on TikTok. I know I always reference TikTok for these things, but like I said earlier, it's a good place to be able to see in real time how real people in society are reacting. I just saw another video this morning of a farmer from the Midwest confronting his local representative about how he can't afford to keep farming because of Trump's tariffs. He can't afford parts for his tractor. He can't afford power. He can't afford, all the things that go into running his farm. The farmers right now, that's like a pretty specific subgroup of people who are super duper pissed at Trump. And incidentally, historically, they are Trump voters. So lots of people are unplugging from MAGA. But, here's the thing. And I'll, pull some cards on this as well once I do a little bit of a shuffle, if I can get these cards to cooperate. The thing about that is, though, is I just wonder, even seeing all these people attend these town halls and, talk about how, like, oh, I can't afford this and I can't afford that. And I'm losing my farm and I'm losing my property and blah, blah, blah. Like, that happened in Trump's first term. Why did farmers not remember that he did this to them in his first term? And then they voted for him again. So it's one thing to hear people complain. All the farmers in the world, or well, in the country, can they could come up and say whatever they want in front of their congressperson. But then it's like, why did you vote for him again? Were you not a farmer during Trump's first term? Because we've been here. This isn't the first time that this has happened. It's not new. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know if people forget. I don't know if, I don't know. I'll get some cards for it, though. Where am I at with my questions? I don't know if you guys watch any political debates, but in my free time, if there's a political debate on live stream somewhere, I'm listening to it. And I'll tell you, I've heard a lot of people recently just talking about the fact that they voted for Trump 3 times and then they'll never support him again, and like they finally get it now. And I firmly believe people are definitely unplugging from Trumpism, we'll say. Boy, he's coming out a lot today. That's kind of wild. Every reading I've done today, he was in it. Yeah, I think these 2 cards already kind of given me a feeling of feeling your way through the dark and maybe not knowing, wow, this card's come out a lot today too. A lot of people starting to open their eyes, with the Knight of Swords. I don't know if I said this already. I'll say it again just in case, because there might be some new people in here, or it may have been the video I filmed earlier, where I was talking about how with the Knight of Swords, I always think of Albert Einstein and how he, is heralded as like a genius and all these things, but he also would get lost, like walk in circles around his neighborhood. And even if, which I don't think it is, but even if that's like an urban legend about him, I think it still perfectly illustrates kind of the energy with this card. And I always think of someone who is like you're smart, you're sharp, you have the tools and the means and the ability to be those things, to be smart and sharp, but you're kind of like overlooking, so it's this energy of people realizing what they overlooked and kind of developing those mental skills that help them seek out the truth about things, and then coming for full circle again with the 4 of Wands. This is a card where you can sit down and break bread with an enemy because now like you're at a different place with them, kind of thing. And this card right here in this context, I believe, is based on our question. People are really starting to see how dirty other people are being done by the administration. So that alone, I think, will change a lot of minds. And so, yeah, cards are here to confirm MAGA is bleeding support for sure. And I've always got that all the way back since like January, right after the inauguration, maybe beginning of February, he's been losing support. The regime starting to crumble before Christmas. That's a good question. Let's kind of see what we can get. I might switch over to Lenormand here in a second. I love doing Lenormand for these because you can get a straight yes or no with Lenormand, and I feel like you can't always get that with tarot. The regime between now and December, what is the energy of their success or failure? Are they on a downward slope? or are they on the rise? I hate to think such a thing. I'm going to go ahead and leave those cards there just because it's kind of a similar question. Ooh, there's your answer. The strength and ability of the regime between now and December, the Tower card. Why? Why tarot? Why the Tower card? Give us details. Ooh, the Sun. So, I can't. I'm trying not to think of the Epstein files and that completely exposing Trump, but that's what I'm thinking. Because when I see the Sun, exposure. That's what I always think of. Hard not to think of it that way, or, you know, with anything else. And then here we have the Four of Cups, which somebody's dissatisfied. Most likely, I would say that that's everyday citizens dissatisfied. And it could also, I wonder if this has anything to do with Christmas, because I wonder how Christmas is going to go this year with prices so high on everything. I personally, I'm not a holiday person. I wish I was. I don't know. I didn't grow up doing a lot of holiday shenanigans. So it's just not, I don't know. I'm lazy when it comes to holidays, I guess. So I don't really celebrate Christmas. And I also don't really have any family. So don't feel bad for me. It's fine. I'm okay with it. But I'm not a Christmas person. But I would imagine that people who have big families and like lots of young children at home, it's going to be a hard Christmas probably because of Trump. So yeah. Unhappiness, displeasure, strength, trying to handle problems with your bare hands, big problems that are, you know, that you really shouldn't even have to deal with, and worrying about. Yeah, I think this is probably just to kind of expand on what I was talking about with like Christmas and stuff. The displeasure card is basically coming up to say like, prices are probably going to keep going so high and the economy is going to keep getting worse to the point where people are really going to be pretty solidly pissed by Christmas. Now the tariffs, so here's the thing, actually good news, because I personally love to shop from Chinese warehouses. That's like, people have been asking me this past week, like, hey, where'd you get your altar cloth and like this and that. Chinese warehouses. I love shopping at Chinese warehouses, and I can't anymore because of Trump. And the tariff thing is going to go to court. I'm not sure exactly what date, but it's going to be, I want to say, in early October. So there is a good chance that they will do away with, like, some judge will permanently stop this tariff madness. The problem is that prices are not going to go back down. I mean, once they're up, they're kind of just up, you know. But I think there is a chance that we could at least get to a point where, you know, at least get rid of the red tape that Trump has created around, like, such a crappy thing for him to do. I will hate him forever just for that alone, if for nothing else, just for, you know, running prices up, because I love to shop internationally, and I know lots of people doing it. Like, it's affected people's businesses, and, you know, it's just, it's like such a, make us miserable, Trump, and take away our pet hobbies, our creature comforts, you know what I mean? Like we can't even have our creature comforts. That's what really gets to me, is not only does he just ruin everything, but he takes away the little joys in life as well. Let's get a few cards for the tariff question, though. Options, illusions. The illusion of options. Uh-oh. There's the wheel. So I think this is kind of like what I was just talking about. Once prices are driven up, kind of doesn't matter. Things aren't going to go back to normal. There's going to be some options, but he set something in motion that has to play itself out. It's going to just keep going, and we're not going to be having a good time. Straight up not having a good time, bro. It's got to play itself out. So right, exactly, DA. Like, how do farmers forget the first term? I mean, I actually sit down and looked all this up one time. I went down kind of a rabbit hole with, how Trump impacted farmers in his first term. I was like, holy cow, they voted for him again? What are you thinking? Why? I can see that, well, no, I can't see, but I know from hearing people talk and talking to people that so many people were just so bothered by potentially voting for a woman. Oh my gosh, what a terrible thing to do, right? I hate that, by the way. Then don't vote. Don't vote. If you can't bring yourself to vote for a highly qualified, amazing woman, then just don't vote. But I guess they didn't see it that way, and I guess at the end of the day, they held their nose and voted for Trump. It's like, really? And so, honestly, in those circumstances, I have a lot of trouble having any sympathy for people who are like, oh, I'm losing my business, I'm losing my farm. Did you vote for Trump? Well, yeah. Well, okay, then congratulations on getting what you voted for. This is what you wanted. Like, we tried to tell you. I don't understand it. I'll never understand that. But that's a good question. Let's do that one. Will Republicans learn their lesson? And listen, we got to make the distinction. It's not just Republicans. It's Donald Trumplicans. Will the Trumplicans learn their lesson? Or any of the fringe Republicans that voted for him? Good question. Let's see what we get here. We've got a catalyst. They've definitely got, it's laid out in front of them. It's in plain sight right in front of them, the catalyst to teaching them the lesson of a lifetime. If they don't get it now, they ain't never going to. Temperance and the Ace of Swords. Yeah, the Ace of Swords, is an epiphany moment. That's when a stroke of genius hits you and everything becomes clear and you start to deconstruct and the wall of cognitive dissonance comes down. And that, I kind of feel like this is them looking at both sides, waffling back and forth and saying, was I really wrong about this? Did I really get this so wrong? Yeah, this is definitely the epiphany hitting them like a ton of bricks. Interesting. I love when tarot is straightforward. Makes it easier for me to not ramble. Oh, dropping cards. Flower power. Yeah, that's a good point. And I actually just heard that this evening. See, I don't really know much about Arizona's politics. I'm all the way on the other side of the country. I do have a cousin that lives out there, but I don't really know anything about Arizona's politics. So, but yeah, I did hear that her dad, I believe, was Democratic congressman. And I'm so glad that she won that election. How is the stock market going to react from now until Christmas? Oh, yeah. Car markets, housing. Yeah. Let's get some cards for that. Now, I'll tell you, that is a very hard to answer kind of question with tarot, but I'll do my best. I'll tell you what the cards mean, and then you can use your knowledge of the stock market to interpret my interpretation. How about that? The stock market drives me up the wall. People have tried to teach it to me before, and I'm like, I can't deal with it. I just don't. I am a poor hillbilly, and I always will be. So I don't know nothing about it, but I'll give you what the cards tell me. So. Ooh, so that's not a good card. That is, a lot of people like to call that the Minor Arcana Death card. Not a good card. Let's get a couple more before I say anything else about it, so that way I have something to kind of pair it with. So this is a card about generational wealth. If we're talking in terms of money and like stock market, we wouldn't necessarily interpret it as like a family people gathering card. We would interpret it strictly for its monetary meanings, which would be generational wealth. Very bad. Let's get one more. I might have to pull a few for this one. And real quick, while I'm pulling some cards, if you are new here, if this is your first time seeing me, please feel free to check out some of my other content. If you like political divination, I'm here all the time talking smack about the regime and using witchcraft in Donald Trump's name because I know he'd love that, and we love that for him. But if you do enjoy political divination, feel free to stick around, hit the subscribe button, and if you're enjoying this stream, I would appreciate it if you click the thumbs up. That would really help me out. I just feel like we need it. God, there's that card again. Why do I keep getting that card? So in financial terms, so this is, we got to look at these from a financial perspective. So this card is a reference to normal society, like a normal societal situation. So if you apply that to something financial like the stock market, then I would say that it is referring to a situation where a normal, kind of an even kill situation is disrupted. So there's like this big disruption right in the center. Generational wealth has the Ten of Cups on their side. Other societal, I'm trying to interpret this financially, and it's a little bit difficult to do. So this would probably be a good sign, I'm going to say, for people who have generational wealth. This, however, financially speaking, I don't know. Let's pull one more card. You know, the Four of Wands can also mean something coming full circle. So, see what else we can get here. Some subterfuge, kind of like walking away with something that doesn't belong to you. Ooh, King of Swords. No, King of Cups. Sorry, like I said, it's dark in here. It doesn't look dark with the screen, but for me, it's really dark and I can't see the cards. King of Cups. So this is like emotional balance. I don't think that whatever this is conveying is necessarily bad, but I think that this is definitely good. So this is kind of like the rich getting richer, and then that made me think, is this referencing the poor getting poorer? I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about the stock market to be able to answer this question with tarot. Sorry, I tried. It may become clear. We'll look back on this video and that spread and be like, it makes sense. I don't know. I don't know enough about the stock market. I wish I did, but it just, I don't like numbers. The poorers are going to get poorer. It didn't, I don't know if it really said that, but I think it definitely said that the rich is going to get richer. So, new Democrat president in 2028 will lower the price and get Medicaid. You know what? That's going to come up soon. I'm hearing from a lot of news sources that probably in the next month, a bunch of people are in for a big surprise when it comes to like Medicaid and Medicare and just the health plan market for insurance across the board because of the big ugly bill. You all hearing anything about that? Because I'm really worried about it. I don't know if I'll be able to keep affording my insurance. I don't. We're all in it together, though, so I got to keep hanging on. We got to keep hanging in there. That's what I tell myself. I tell myself all the time. I've been telling myself this since March 2020. Plague, famine, Renaissance. I think we're almost to the Renaissance. I hope. By the way, that's also going to be a line in one of my upcoming short stories. I'm working on a new book, in case anybody's interested. I am working officially and making some serious progress towards the next short story book release. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a lot bigger and a lot more serious than my first book, just in case anybody wants to hear about this. And it's going to be less preachy, less politically preachy. I realized that my first one was very politically preachy because I was just in a mood when I was writing those stories. But this one it's going to be awesome. Definitely still a big focus on Appalachian witchcraft and spooky things. But anyway, just wanted to throw that little promo in there for myself. Yeah, premiums. Definitely. Lisa, I'm glad you found me too. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Yeah, that's the thing. Only me is, and I don't understand, why are these companies not more intimidated by us? Because we can control how everything goes with our wallets and where we put our money. And it's like they're just not even afraid. And it's, the American people keep showing these corporations like, hey, we know we have this power and we know how to use it. Don't make us use it. And you would think that they would be a little nicer to us, knowing that we actually are the ones in control. But I think people got to get more organized, we got to do some more boycotts and some more, things like that. Like the People's Sick Day. Anybody heard about that? That's coming up, the People's Sick Day. Here's a question from a minute ago that I missed. If he gets to run for president again, will he win? Let's do Lenormand for that one. Let's start with, will he be alive, though? Okay, I mean, all jokes aside, he's getting up there in age. Let's start with, will he be physically capable of running in 2028? We'll do 3 cards. So out of 3 cards, this is already looking like a no, because it's 2 black cards and Yeah, 3 black cards, no reds. So that's a good indicator of no. And I find that this method is generally very accurate in my own personal life for my personal readings. Do a lot of yes or no questions. And if it's 3 cards and 2 of them are black, then it's definitely a no. So he won't be physically able to run. Kind of like as far as the answer itself goes, though, we've got a card of fighting and battles, a card of making a journey, maybe across the Rainbow Bridge, maybe not, but probably. And then we've got the snake card, which is an indicator of a problem that you didn't see coming. So kind of getting the feeling here that he is fighting against something that's progressing, but it's going to get him in the end. Okay, he won't be able to run during the next general election. He won't be physically able to. And I think that is also very logical as well, because I mean, you think about it, like, he's having a lot of health problems now as it is. Yeah, good point, Cat Mom. Yeah, theater, that's exactly right. I mean, and there's been a lot of, like, I mean, not a lot, but people have in the last few years rallied together and, like, been able to exert some small amount of dominance over capitalistic situations and kind of remind these corporations and stuff, like, hey, you know, you're nothing without us, because, like, we, the people, we're the ones funding you, we're the ones paying you, we're the ones keeping you afloat. And I don't know, it's like they just forget. And I really like to see people in the upcoming future, like, really kind of go hard at that, because I think that's the only way that we're going to get these corporations to start respecting us, is we got to get to a point where we remind them frequently. Yeah, I mean, I hope it will end too. I've never felt like that man would finish an entire term. I have never had that feeling. In fact, I feel quite strongly that he won't. But it's like, I mean, I can't ever get an answer really through divination of, like, will he or won't he? I can't get that. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who have been able to, like, through various practices and stuff, be able to be like, here's an idea of when he might go, or what might happen, or whatever. I've never been able to get an answer to that. And a lot of people ask me about that, and I wish I could answer it, but I don't know. The closest thing I've got is, like, a month or two ago, I did a reading on him. And I didn't post this one because it was just like a, you know, I like to do a little bit of an energy read before I start filming. And I got that something is definitely changing. And I had this very strong feeling. The weather was reminiscent to, like, the beginning of winter. Very cold, very rainy, dreary. And I'm not saying that that's, like, for sure when something's going to happen with him. I think more than anything, it was a warning that things are going to kind of go into overdrive once we get into colder temperatures, like towards the end of this year. I just feel like something's coming. Something's coming. I don't know what it is, but let's see. Looking for a question. Soul Star. It was coffee, and I forgot I had it because I've been over here talking and talking, but it's in like a weird iridescent cup. So it probably does look like lemonade. It's all different colors, the cup is. It's rainy today. Is it cold where you're at? I think it's pretty warm here still, surprisingly. How long have I been on here? A little over an hour. We'll do a few more questions and then I might wrap it up for the evening. I'm trying to find some questions. I feel like I'm overlooking them or I'm not seeing them. Hopefully I got them all. Let's do, since it's Wednesday, let's do like a little short spread for Donald Trump. What is going to be Donald Trump's next big shenanigan next week? Starting Monday through Friday. Let's get a little mini reading on his, will that be the beginning of October? No, I think we still got like a week left or something of September. We'll just say last week of September, beginning of October. Do a little short spread for him here. Oh, there he is. Coming in hot immediately. Ooh, we have our health card. Uh-oh, we got our Tom Homan card. Some migration, some movement. Oh, I don't want to get everybody excited, but here's Trump, here's the heart card, and here's the health card. And they're all clustered together over here for next week. So we'll see what other cards we get, but we got some clouds at the center of the reading. Ooh, looks like possible end of a partnership of some kind. The ring is usually his shadowy alliances. Got the crossroad, the fish, a lot of financial references. Let's see. Okay, I don't have room for a fate line. We'll pull 3 cards afterwards, I suppose, for this. So we've got next week starting off with some confusion and some kind of chaos. With the heart card and the book card, there's something Trump is wanting, something his heart desires, something that maybe we don't know that he's wanting to achieve or acquire or do. And then over here we've got his alliances, some type of ending. So this could be a situation where we see someone leave the administration. And it may not be the administration because the woman card is usually our administration card. This is like our or Trump's alliances. So like Pootie Poo, Erica Kirk, you know, randos like that. Could be some type of end there. So then we've got with the stars and the bouquet, I would say, oh, thank you so much, Soul Star. I appreciate that very much. And you are very welcome, and I appreciate so much the support, you guys. That's really sweet, and I'm glad you enjoy watching them. So where am I? Okay, bouquet and stars and clouds. Looks like there's some type of communication in the center here. Tom Homan, some type of movement on that case. We got Trump and his health. We've got, what haven't I done yet? Some financial choices to be made. And then we've got some progress in the White House, financial progress. So this kind of actually is given the tariff vibe. I'll have to Google and see when the tariff hearing thing is coming up, when it's going to court. This kind of seems like it could be referencing the tariffs a little bit, because we do have the fish card and we do have the ship card, all of this kind of coming in one line, and it's something tied to the White House, choices being made. So we might see a little bit of movement on that next week. I think we're going to hear, just because I reassigned this to Tom Homan for the last political reading, I feel like it's probably coming up here to reference him again. It could just be referencing financial stuff in general. So we'll look at it as if it's just that. And if it's just finances in general, kind of interesting that there's so many financial references in this little spread here. But we've got change, choices, and progress, and all of it pretty much tied to Trump. This looks like a situation that he may have a little more control over than I would like to see. Because, you know, when he's kind of spiraling, that's what I love for him the most. So when he's out of control. But he is on the top line. He's the first card. So he's got a little bit of control of whatever this situation is. I'm going to say again, it looks like it's something that we may not know much about, because you know, we do have the book card here to reference hidden information. And then the ring. The ring is really drawing my attention. I really feel like could be a situation where somebody comes to the end of the road as far as their career working with him. And there's some type of heavily rooted financial details here that maybe we don't know about. We'll see next week. The cards, they're always right. I'm not always right, but the cards are always right. So we'll see next week. Said he would be gone by the end of September. You know, I just am starting to think that it's like, you know how they say that cockroaches can live through nuclear apocalypse? It's kind of that. I don't know. And then I kind of wonder, listen guys, I'm kind of wondering where he's big buddies with all those billionaires and you know, the tech people and stuff. Like, what if they end up just putting him, his likeness into the cloud or something, and then making him a robot body, and then he just lives forever? That's what it kind of feels like at this point, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say too much here, because I don't want to get bananaed for saying naughty things on the internet, but we're stuck with him for a little bit. The only way we're going to get rid of him is these Epstein files. That's it. And I've said from the beginning, we got a lot riding on this. It's got to work out in our favor, because this is our only thing that's going to have the momentum. And I just realized you all can't, I was scooted over too far. You can't see my little space thing over here. Yeah, that's why the Epstein files are so important, is because this is our one chance to really, get him impeached. I don't think that anything else will have the same hold on people, across the aisle too, like bipartisan support, because somebody said it earlier in the stream, the guy could go on TV and do something really horrendous and people would still support him. So that is our only hope to get rid of him. But yeah, you've seen the old science fiction concept of putting someone's head in a jar of like primordial goo. And that way they're just like a floating head in a jar, and then they live on forever. And That's where we're going at this point, I think. I don't know. I hope not. They better not upload him to the cloud. I'm going to be so mad. Let's see. Will AOC be vice president in 2028? Let's pull some cards for that. Ooh, there they go into the floor. A few more minutes and I'm going to have to run. But before I do, just want to say I appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me. Make sure that if you are subscribed that you hit the little bell and turn on the notifications so that you get notified when I go live in the future. And also, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet and you enjoy political divination, you should definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the community. Let's get 3 cards for AOC. Actually, let's get 5 cards for AOC because I feel like this is a question with some nuance. No. So according to, like I was saying earlier, I like to use the insets to answer yes or no questions, and we do have more black cards than red cards here, so the answer would be no, according to this. But she is strongly committed to the job that she does do. She is, here we have kind of a reference to battling or dueling in progress. And making a slow, steady journey. And then over here we have, I guess with the lightning card, I normally don't use the lightning card. I should have probably taken it, but it basically means abrupt or like immediate or, you know, impactful access. So she will have access, meaningful access to whoever possibly, and I don't know where I'm getting this from. This is just kind of popping into my head. Meaningful access to the next president. I don't know why that thought just came into my mind, but that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm going to go with. Weird. Did I just become psychic? I don't know. Stranger things have happened, like Donald Trump being elected president a second time. Cat Mom, thank you so much. Appreciate that. That's so sweet of you guys. I really, really, truly appreciate it. But yeah, personally, I think AOC's got a very bright future ahead in politics. She's going to be around for a really long time because you just don't find someone that is that good at what they do and that knowledgeable and possesses that many skills to do the job like she has. Like, she really is just such a strong figure in politics. So she'll be around for a long time, I think. Will they be able to fix the 26th elections? I'm not sure what that question means. If you want to rephrase it. Will AOC be in the cabinet? Yeah, let's ask that. Let's see what we get for that. Will AOC be in the cabinet of the next president? That looks like a yes. Okay? That looks like a yes. Let's see what else we get. Oh wow. That kind of, why does that kind of feel like, hang on, I'm not gonna say it yet. Well, okay. So we've got 3 black cards and 2 red ones. But it's funny that the 2 red ones are here and the 2 black ones are there. Obviously, the center card, that's our kind of overarching energy. It is also a black card. But my first thought when I saw these first 3 cards was not press secretary, but someone who is heavily involved in communication, because we have the letter card, which is a card of communication and writing and like publicity and just, communicating in all forms. And I mean, we always use the house card in political readings to show the White House, right? And then this is a literal cabinet. This is a literal cabinet. So that to me looks like a yes. But then over here, kind of getting the feeling that there is maybe her not wanting to leave where she's at. Maybe wanting to retain the position that she's already in and kind of stay there as long as possible before moving on to the next phase of something. Because like this is a card of it can be a lot of things. It can be a big problem because like you run into a bear in the woods, you don't look at it as the meaning of like this card. You look at a bear as a big animal, a big wild animal. So it could be like a big problem, or it could be like a big situation that as long as you don't bother it, it won't bother you. But traditionally for Lenormand, it could also indicate prosperity and preparing for winter, so to speak. So repeated preparations, I kind of get the feeling that she is gonna stay where she's at, but heavily involved as well. I don't know what that means. I mean, this looks like in the White House cabinet. So, interesting spread. Very interesting answer. Will Republicans be able to... Oh, thank you so much, Flower Power. Thank you. Appreciate that so very much. Will Republicans be able to... Not going to say the rest of the question just for the algorithm. But you'll know what question I'm answering. We'll do 3 cards for this one. This is probably straightforward. Just to try to get a yes or no, at least. There's something banging outside my house really loud. I don't know if it's like thunder or if somebody is chopping down a tree. Kind of sounds like somebody's chopping down a tree. So we got 2 cards here, which would indicate a yes. This is kind of with the swords, the clover, and the key, kind of like getting lucky in a fight and getting your way after, like winning a battle, basically winning the fight and getting access to whatever it is that you're looking to get. So based on that, cards are saying yes. Let's see. Flower Power, I wish that you had been here earlier. I don't know if you were. I was kind of, briefly mentioned. I've got some video clips that I'm going to post soon. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I think what I will say about that, right now there's a lot going on where I think one of the big goals is to scare people into leaving. Now, there's nuance to that. Obviously, we see what we see as far as ICE goes and what ICE has been doing. But there is simultaneously a problem with this administration trying to scare people. into fleeing the country. With that in mind, I'll pull 3 cards for that, and we'll see what we get. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for this. Let's see. So, based on the insets, that would be a yes. I think in this context, the mountain card would likely represent, since we're talking about travel, it would likely represent long distance travel, or like a place far away, or like maybe going on a long distance trip. And, you know, if you have access to it, maybe, yes. But I think a lot's going to happen too. And I don't want to, I hate to answer questions that might create a sense of fear. I don't want to put anything out that makes anybody fearful. I always try to be careful and mindful about that, and like try to kind of tell you guys what I know that might make you less fearful, make you more hopeful. People are not going to put up with this crap that's going on. There's tons of pushback from judges. There's tons of people fighting back against this. It will come to an end. There will someday be an end to this madness. It may come in a year and a month from now. There may be a huge blue wave and he gets impeached and all of this comes to a screeching halt. We may see something like that. I know, I understand, like, it's terrifying, and I'm, you know, but I don't want to say anything that makes anybody scared. So if you have the means to travel, maybe, you know, you got to go on what you think, like what your experience is. Go with your gut. Your gut feeling is always, you know, it's always right for a reason. It's an instinct. But I'm not going to just say like, oh yes, like this is going to be terrible, everybody needs to flee if they can't. Like, I don't think that's the case. So, sorry to go on a little bit of a soapbox there, but just, you know, don't want to put anything out there that creates fear. Came across J.D. Vance. Oh my God, Erica Kirk is vice president. Ugh. Let's see. Let's get 3 cards for that. Oof. There's a reading that I've been wanting to do, and I'm not sure quite yet where to post it, because I don't know really if I can post it here. So I'm thinking about like trying to post it on another platform and just tell you guys about it, and then if you want to check it out, you can. But I have a theory, and it involves the designated survivor and what I think might be coming as far as like impeachments and things like that. I think it's entirely possible that we might see a situation with the designated survivor before the end of this term. And if you know what I'm talking about, like, if you know, you know. 3 cards for that. Already a no. That's a big no. Something growing in government is, it's not as strong and healthy as it might appear. Now, this is interesting considering the question. Could be for a lot of reasons. I don't think that we'll ever see JD take office, which is weird because, like, obviously if something happens to Pumpkin Spice Palpatine, you know, that's how it's supposed to go. But I just don't think it'll happen. I don't know why, but I've always felt that way. I've never had a feeling that that JD would ever be president, and I definitely don't think he would get elected in an election. But the 3 insets they're all 3 black, so that's a no. but it's like something unhealthy growing in government. And I just feel like they're not doing as well as they want us to think that they're doing, y'all. They're really not. In fact, I think they're scared of the American people. Did you all hear about recently? Somebody got like footage of a big old truck, like a big flatbed, bringing in more fencing to go up around maybe the White House, maybe could possibly be the Supreme Court. I mean, we don't know for sure where the fencing's going, but it's going somewhere close to like that area where all of the big buildings are. Something's coming. Something weird is going to happen soon. I don't know if it's going to come out of Supreme Court. I don't know if Trump is just, maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning he gets bored and goes shopping online for like, Presidents Are Us and just buys fencing to go up around the White House just because he has nothing better to do. But they have footage of it, so it's there in Washington, D.C. on the back of a truck. Be interested to see where they put that fence up at, though. All right, guys. I think I got just about everything. I am going to go ahead and hop off of here. I appreciate y'all so much for hanging out with me. Again, be sure you turn on that little bell, the notification, so you get notified when I go live. I've been trying to figure out what day I can consistently go live so that I'm consistent. And that's just hard to do right now, but I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to start doing more and more streams, and I really look forward to it, and I hope you all do too. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, and if you are new, be sure to subscribe and stick around. We'd love to have you. And let's see, what else? I should have a video. Hopefully I'll have a video out at least by Friday, I think. And we might try to go live again sometime this week if at all possible. But thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I really, truly appreciate it. It's been really fun. Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate that. Oh, Andrea. Yeah. Well, Andrea, be sure you turn that little bell button on, and that way you get notified when I go live. All right, I think I got everything. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I will go ahead and disconnect, and if I can figure out how, and I will see you all later, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week and a great weekend.